and also to share that our thoughts and prayers are with the Sidima states which are currently under threat, specifically Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and of course Haiti and potentially Belize. So to give a bit of a background, what is now a Category 4 Hurricane Beryl, which is headed for Jamaica, started as a tropical disturbance last Saturday on June the 28th and quickly developed into a major hurricane by Saturday night and into Monday morning. Initially, there was a threat to the participating states of Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 6 of the Sidima participating states. As at July 2, yesterday evening, we can confirm that there has been some impact in Barbados, St. Lucia, minimal impacts for Dominica, but it is very clear that it was the Grenadines of St. Vincent, particularly Canouan, Meru, and Union Island, as well as the Grenadines of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, which bore the brunt of Hurricane Beryl. Beryl, as you know, following its traversing of the Eastern Caribbean chain, intensified to a Category 5 hurricane, and at this time it is forecast to impact Jamaica. In fact, it is impacting Jamaica at this time as a Category 4 system with some potential impact on the southern coast of Haiti and potentially later today in the Cayman Islands as well. So I want to provide you with information on the country status, and I must emphasize that assessments in all participating states are still ongoing, so this is very much an initial, very preliminary picture of what has happened. With respect to Barbados, we are aware that initial damage reports include over 40 homes being damaged, with numbers expected to rise as the damage assessment continues. We have also confirmed significant damage to the fishing sector, as well as coastal infrastructure, particularly along the south coast of the island. It is reported that over 200 boats were damaged, and there were partial road obstructions due to debris as well as fallen trees. The damage assessments, of course, will give us a full understanding of the extent of the impact and will also guide recovery. With respect to St. Lucia, significant damage was experienced in the southern section of St. Lucia, specifically in the area of Sufrere, along the waterfront, and there were also reports of landslides as well as fallen trees. And St. Lucia has mobilized, as Barbados, its internal resources to treat the impact so far. With respect to Tobago, there were reports of damage across the Twin Island state of Trinidad and Tobago, reports of power outages as well as water disruption on Tobago, and temporary blocked roadways on both islands. Dominica indicated that there was minimal damage. So at this time, we, of course, are awaiting the details of the damage assessment from those participating states. So let us look more specifically at St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the preliminary assessments. And I will look at these island by island. So with respect to Canouan, which has a total population of approximately 12,600 persons, we know that 100% of that population was affected. There is an estimated 90% of the houses that were damaged, either extensively or destroyed. The police station in Charlestown is also known to have lost its roof. In terms of access, the runway has been cleared, and we've confirmed through an aerial recce that the surface of that runway is intact and it is usable. With respect to Union Island, which has a total population of 3,000. The full population was also affected by Beryl. There's been extensive damage to the island. An estimated 98% of the buildings, including houses, the airport building, have been badly damaged or destroyed. The control tower of the airport was also destroyed, and the hospital roof was also destroyed. The power plant at building on Union Island has received significant damage, and approximately 30% of the solar photovoltaic panels at the solar farm have also been damaged or destroyed. We are aware through indications from the Honorable Prime Minister that facility is being made for those persons who wish to do so to be evacuated using the fast ferry. With respect to Meru, the total population of approximately 300 persons was also affected. 90% of the housing stock and buildings have been damaged or destroyed. Palm Island, the resort on Palm Island has been significantly damaged, and the desalination plant has also been significantly damaged. Bequia has reported fared somewhat better. Initial estimates are about 10% of the houses and buildings suffering roof damage. We've confirmed that the airport buildings and runway are still very much usable. And with respect to Mustique, the airport also is in good condition, as well as the jetty, which has suffered very minimal damage. So those islands appear to have fared much better. With respect to Petite Martinique, there's an estimated 80% of the houses and buildings on that island which were extensively damaged or destroyed. So, colleagues, the overall picture with respect to the Grenadine Islands is quite significant, severe, and of course the focus at this time is on the population, which has been significantly impacted. They're also exposed, so there are considerations related to urgent shelter for those persons. With respect to Grenada, there have been reports of damage in the north of Grenada that is being assessed. Carriacou, one of the Grenadine Islands with a population of approximately 6,081, the total population has also been affected. So shelter is a significant consideration here as well. Initial reports are that the majority of the homes and buildings on that island have been extensively damaged. The majority of the persons who have been affected are currently sheltering in place with temporary arrangements. The Emergency Operations Center on that island was activated yesterday with some additional reinforcement from mainland Grenada, and the coordination operations have commenced. The government of Grenada is also mobilizing food for distribution, and initial damage assessment has been initiated on that island. Communication also significantly compromised. With respect to Petite Martinique, with a population of estimated 900 persons, the full population has also been affected. The majority of the homes and buildings on that island were also extensively damaged or destroyed. The majority of the population on island is also sheltering in place with temporary arrangements. The government is mobilizing food for distribution, and we do have reports of persons in shelter in Petite Martinique, but those numbers are being confirmed. So we have an initial picture, but it is certainly sufficient to allow us to focus the response efforts, even as we await the final damage assessment indications. So what has been the response through the regional response mechanism, which is coordinated by SEDEMA? The SEDEMA coordinating unit activated the regional coordination plan at 5 a.m. on the 29th of June. Our regional coordination center was activated on the 30th of June to address the response. There was an emergency meeting of the heads of government of CARICOM yesterday on the 2nd of July to discuss and make provision for how the community will be supporting its neighbors who have been impacted. And I want to express my thanks to the heads of government of the community for their support. With respect to regional coordination, SEDEMA has convened to date 4 meetings of the Caribbean Development Partner Group, which pulls together our participating states, CARICOM regional institutions, as well as UN organizations and other private sector, non-governmental, as well as civil society organizations to support a coordinated response. I accompanied Ms. Michelle Forbes, the Director of the National Emergency Management Organization of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, NEMO, on an aerial reconnaissance of St. Vincent and its Grenadines, as well as the Grenadines of Grenada yesterday. This mission was facilitated by the Regional Security System, and we want to thank the RSS for its continued support. The mission did provide a comprehensive view of the status with respect to the housing as well as buildings on islands and critical facilities, and allowing us to really prioritize how we would task the regional response teams which would be supporting, and I'll say a little bit more about that shortly. We have activated within the Regional Coordination Center a number of thematic groups, including the Relief and Logistics thematic group, and this group, co-chaired by SEDEMA and the World Food Programme, are in the process of establishing a relief transshipment hub at Shed 1 of the Barbados port. A site visit was conducted, and we expect to commence those operations later today. We want to thank the World Food Programme for activating their arrangements with Massey Distribution, and we will be undertaking the packaging of food items to be distributed to families containing ready-to-eat foods given the situation on the ground, and both St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada will benefit from this. We also want to thank the operators who have indicated a pledge of support to the hub, which include the Barbados Red Cross, the Rotary International, as well as the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme. We want to thank them for their support. With respect to emergency telecommunications, we have deployed a CARICOM emergency telecommunications team to St. Vincent and the Grenadines with telecommunications supplies, which include mobile communication systems comprising laptops, power supplies, Starlink satellite internet service, as well as solar power generators so that these can function independently. And a similar deployment will be made to Grenada to support its Grenadines. A rapid needs assessment team was deployed to St. Vincent and the Grenadines yesterday, and this was facilitated via the Guyana Defense Force Air Wing, and we want to express thanks to them and also to the Regional Security System for facilitation of that movement. The members of that rapid needs assessment team are very diverse, and I will try to highlight as I go through the various entities providing support in just a short while. We have also had significant support by the participating states of the SEDEMA system, and we want to thank the national disaster coordinators of all of our participating states for rallying around their colleagues at this time. Antigua and Barbuda, in particular, has provided coordination of support out of Antigua. They have also provided a suite of relief items, ice, water, human resources in the form of search and rescue and security contingents, supporting the RSS efforts in that regard. They've supported the CARICOM disaster relief unit team, as well as other response personnel. The government of Barbados has facilitated, through the access to the Bridgetown port, for the purposes of the transshipment hub and also provided human resources to the Rapid Needs Assessment Team. We want to thank the Coastal Zone Management Unit in that regard. The government of Guyana, in addition to providing 2 flights yesterday with relief items, provided air transport for the relief teams, 500 cots, 500 tarpaulins, as well as a quantity of plastic sheeting and medical support are also pledged, and arrangements are being made for the delivery of those items. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis has also provided relief items, supported the security contingent, the CARICOM Disaster Relief Unit membership, and have also offered additional technical support personnel. Trinidad and Tobago, the sub-regional focal point for the southern region of Sedima, has dispatched relief items to the impacted states yesterday. We also have members from Trinidad and Tobago being deployed to support the Emergency Operations Center efforts in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and they're scheduled to arrive in those islands today. And we also have had the support of the Air Guard of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force undertaking a number of actions, including supporting aerial reconnaissance and the movement of personnel, and we want to thank them in that regard. 2 fast ferries have also been made available by the government of Trinidad and Tobago to support the transport of personnel and relief items. So as you can see, colleagues, the region has really been rallying, and we want to thank them. We also know that other Sedima participating states are undertaking actions at this time to support our neighbors, and as that information comes to hand, we will ensure that it's also shared with the public. We do have a number of regional institutions as well supporting the efforts. The Caribbean Broadcasting Union supporting our Rapid Needs Assessment Team to ensure that we can get the story of what is happening with the persons in those territories available to you. The Caribbean Development Bank, which is providing personnel to support the Rapid Needs Assessment Team, as well as financial support to the Regional Response Mechanism deployments. The Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology has kept us fully abreast with respect to the scientific analysis as the tropical cyclone has evolved, and supported impact-based forecasting, informing the readiness actions in our states. CARICOM Impacts has been supporting on the security front. The CARICOM Private Sector Organization, CPSO, has been mobilizing efforts, particularly relief supplies out of Trinidad and Tobago. The Caribbean Public Health Agency, which has provided support to the Rapid Needs Assessment Team, as well as CAWASA, which is the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Organization. We also have a number of United Nations organizations supporting our efforts, and there are many of these. The Food and Agriculture Organization is supporting. The International Organization for Migration has been supporting us here and leading the thematic group looking at shelter solutions for those persons who have been displaced. We have the Pan American Health Organization supporting us with respect to health efforts. The World Food Program has also been actively engaged as co-chairs of the Emergency Logistics and Relief Management Group. And the World Food Program is also supporting the consolidation of demands and available supplies through the use of the CARICOM logistics system in collaboration with the Sedima team, and have also established a control tower for upstream and downstream logistics. I'd mentioned previously the activation of their arrangement for the provision of food supplies, and we really want to thank the World Food Program with respect to those efforts. Other UN organizations have pledged their support, and I want to express my thanks to the UN Resident Coordinator based here in Barbados, who has provided very sterling support with the co-chairing of the Caribbean Development Partner Group, Mr. Simon Springett, as well as the full UN family who have pledged a number of items, and we anticipate activating those in days to come. Global Support and Development, an international NGO. You would recall that we signed an MOU last year which allows us to work collaboratively with the MV Dawn, which is a humanitarian vessel. That vessel has been activated, providing logistic support and the movement of relief supplies as well. World Central Kitchen has also reached out and responded to our call for assistance, and they're currently on the ground in St. Vincent and the Grenadines providing feeding services. The regional security system I'd mentioned previously, but I wanted to emphasize here that they also coordinate the CARICOM Disaster Relief Unit and have coordinated the security search support to our states. I want to acknowledge, of course, the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, who are providing financial support to the mobilization of the regional response mechanism, and they have done so for the past several years, and we continue to be appreciative of those efforts. And of course, UWI Television, we have a strong partnership with UWI, and they're here facilitating our broadcast today. So I wish to turn now to modalities for providing assistance to the impacted states. I know that as Caribbean people, we are close to our Caribbean brothers and sisters, and we want to assist. It is important that we do so in a highly coordinated way so that we are as efficient as possible and bring in really the best of the region to support our neighbors at a very difficult time. So with respect to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have received guidance from the government for an express preference for cash donations. Cash donations, I want to emphasize this. The account details are available to you, and I believe we will be showing those on screen sometime during the press conference, but we will also make these available via the SEDEMA social media sites as well as our website, and distribute through the islands, through the channels of our National Emergency Management Coordinators. So just repeating, for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the government has expressed a preference for cash donations. They are mindful that there are items that are currently on the way, and of course these will be accepted, and we understand that any of those donations that are on the way would have been in alignment with any needs lists that had been previously prepared and circulated, and also would have been notified to the National Emergency Operations Center so that we can ensure coordination. But remember, preferred cash donations for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. With respect to the government of Grenada, they have advised that they will accept cash contributions, and they will be publishing the bank account information where these cash donations can be placed as soon as we have that information available at the coordinating unit. Similarly, we will be publishing it on our social media sites and also on our websites, and distributing through our participating states via our National Emergency Management Coordinators as well. In addition, the government of Grenada has advised that a needs list has been published. We understand it was published this morning, and that the government will be accepting contributions based on items in the needs list only. And I wish to emphasize this. It is very important that if you are providing support to the government of Grenada, it must be with respect to items that appear on the needs list. Now, across the SEDEMA participating states, as you know, we work as a system. So our National Emergency Management Coordinators in each of the SEDEMA participating states will be the focal points for facilitation and coordination of any relief items which are to be sent for the government of Grenada. So you must liaise with them. Remember that we have logistical arrangements in place to support, which include our private sector partners of Tropical Shipping and King Ocean, which is another shipping facilitation within the region. But to access these arrangements, you must coordinate with the National Emergency Management Offices, and this allows us to keep a very clear perspective on what relief items will be coming from any of the SEDEMA participating states, and also the facilitation of the logistics. And I want to repeat again, only items on the needs list will be accepted, and only items on the needs list will be shipped. So please bear this in mind. Thank you for your attention. This brings me to the end of the briefing. I am available to take your questions. And so back over to you, Keith.
Thank you very much, Edie, for that comprehensive update as it relates to the islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada and the other islands who've been impacted by Hurricane Beryl. At this time, we are going to open the floor to the media across the region. All we ask is that you state your name and agency before you ask your question so that we can directly speak to you. I do see a Ryan Davis. Ryan, you can start with your question.
Hi, it could be Ryan Hamilton Davis, Trinidad Newsday. Can you hear me?
You're a little muffled, but we can hear you. We're hearing you. Go ahead with the question, and we'll see if we can make out what you're saying.
First question is SEDEMA able to confirm the death toll for so far? We've been hearing different reports concerning deaths between 6 and 8. So I want to get a confirmed number for that. And secondly, as far as disaster preparedness is concerned, especially in areas like Haiti, which already has significant social problems and so on, how are the preparedness efforts being conducted there?
I didn't understand the second part of the question on preparedness efforts.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks very much, Ryan. So I understood the first question as being one as to whether we can give a confirmation with respect to fatalities. The answer is no. We have not received an official report from any of the states with respect to this item. And of course, once this is available, we would make this available to the press as well. Now, your second question was a bit muffled. I understood you were asking about preparedness actions, but could you repeat for me?
Sorry about that. Preparedness actions.
Or if you can't repeat, Ryan, can you just place it? If you may, you can place it. You can place a text in the Zoom, and we'll try to get the question answered for you.
I will send it via text.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I see Jay. You can go ahead with your question. Just indicate your name and agency. Jay.
Hi, good morning. Keith, good morning. Miss Riley.
Good morning.
I have one question. Speaking specifically...
Which agency are you with?
Sorry, German Abel here, SKN Vibes, WinFM. Quick question though. In terms of medical facilities and so forth, where are we with that in terms of St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Because from my recollection, they were stating that the hospital or so forth was actually damaged. Can you address that specifically? Thanks.
Yes, thank you. At this time, we have not had any requests from either of the states for surge support on the medical side. Please bear in mind that even though there were impacts to Grenada as well as to St. Vincent, that both of these islands are still operational. The capitals are very much operational, so the hospitals, medical arrangements on the main islands are still intact. We do know that there were medical personnel deployed from Grenada into the impact zone of Carriacou and Petit Martinique yesterday morning. But at this time, we have no specific requests for augmentation of the national level medical capabilities.
Thank you, Jay, for your question. Dennis Chabral from Guyana. Please go ahead with your question.
Good day, Dennis Chabral, Caribbean News Desk and Demerara Waves. Can you say what preparations are currently being made at this moment to respond to the situations in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands? And secondly, why, after so many decades of preparedness, SEDEMA and its previous organization have not found a way to ensure that they're adequate, secured communications facilities to deal with situations like these? Here it is in 2024, we're seeing islands cut off from the rest of the Caribbean and the world because telecommunication systems have gone down. Why haven't you tried to fix this so immediately after the storm passes, you've got facilities that can be erected and communication started?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Dennis, for your question. So with respect to the preparedness actions for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, so we have activated our regional response mechanism, and it is on standby to support Jamaica. We were in discussions with Jamaica on the operational scenario that they were anticipating, including looking at matters of potential population to be affected, etc. So the arrangements are on standby, including the CARICOM Disaster Relief Unit that's there. We are also looking at having appropriate surge support available for them as well. One of the things I want to draw the media's attention to is that this is quite a complex operation that is happening in the region. Many of you may be aware that we have 4 geographical subregions within SEDEMA, which allow us to provide more effective response to our states. And you probably will realize that Beryl has in fact threatened 3 of those subregions, the one led by Barbados. In fact, all of the countries within the Barbados subregion were actually under threat at the same time, and those include Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And within the southern subregion, which is coordinated by Trinidad and Tobago, the subregional focal point itself was under threat, as well as Grenada. And we knew that Beryl was going to traverse the Caribbean Sea and provide a bit of a concern for Jamaica, which is the sub-regional focal point in the northwest. And of course, Jamaica is very important within our system because of the significant assets that they hold, etc. So I'm raising this point to say that what we have done is try to strategically utilize those states which have not been under threat to provide the horizontal cooperation support, and we've collaborated very closely with our partners. I'd explained a bit earlier how we're working very closely with the UN agencies to support the efforts, as well as some private sector entities and NGOs. Bahamas has also placed teams on standby for support to Jamaica as well, and they are in the northwestern subregion. And we do have an arrangement with the international militaries that support our regional response mechanism through our multinational Caribbean cell, and that includes the militaries of the United States, Canada, France, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and Canada. So they're also very much on standby and prepared to support. With respect to the Cayman Islands is a UK overseas dependent territory, and in that regard, our operational plans call for us to activate our arrangements with the UK for support to the UK overseas territories in events where the regional resources are stretched, and this is certainly one of those scenarios. So we have confirmed with the UK that they're well positioned to activate their arrangements in support of the Cayman Islands should this be required. So you asked a question with respect to the adequacy of communication. So we do have communication surge arrangements in the region. I think it's also important to recognize that in multi-island states, there is a requirement for creation of redundancy around a lot of the facilities across every single island. So, for example, in a mainland, the type of resources that you would have on the mainland compared sometimes to what is held on sister islands or those smaller jurisdictions, I think it would be appreciated that that is not always equated. So we do have satellite phones that are located on Carriacou as well as Petit Martinique. So once the system had cleared, they were able to make contact. It is not on
Lululemon Pace Breaker shorts. Get into it. When you're free to test your limits, you can push yourself to new heights.
Go fast. Or go slow.
Injured on the job? Call Runes for now. 1-800-JUSTICE.